In Washington, we're live now to Melbourne. Tom Connell joins us, and Bill Shorten. He's going to keep focusing on this Medicare scare campaign. Malcolm Turnbull couldn't have been more unequivocal in saying it's not going to be privatised. They've got billboards up saying the same thing, but that's not going to stop the Labor leader. They think they're onto something that's resonating, and it has to be said, the coalition hasn't been shy of running their own scare campaigns even recently.
Well, exactly. You can't exactly say this is a new concept of scare campaign laid on in this one, and particularly, as you've mentioned, there's been a lot of campaigning from the government about, for example, Bill Shorten. Does he really hold the Labor Party together on asylum seekers and border protection? Is he going to do a deal with the Greens? So perhaps a bit of return fire, you might like to call it. As you mentioned, Malcolm Turnbull has ruled out privatising Medicare for the last 4 days, and even ruled out privatising just the payment system of it. That's a sign that this campaign from Labor is biting, that the government moved to even quash any possibility of voter confusion, if you like, that yes, they might privatise the Medicare payment system, the back office, but not the whole thing. Now they're saying all of those options are simply off the table. So we'll see what Bill Shorten has to say today, but we know part of their campaign is going to centre on the fact that Tony Abbott made pledges not to change any sort of health funding, not to cut health funding before the 2013 election, and then went ahead and reduced the health funding increases in that 2014 budget. So they'll try to go the trust element on the coalition and paint Malcolm Turnbull as another Tony Abbott. That will be the attempt. The government, meanwhile, is going to say, well, Labor, not so long ago when they were in government, were also talking about this Medicare payment system, at the least, perhaps needing to have the private sector brought in and made more efficient. In terms of another focus here in Melbourne, the CFA, the Country Fire Authority, and the stoush they're having with the Firefighters Union has been a really hot issue for Daniel Andrews, the Victorian Premier. Bill Shorten has mostly tried to avoid questions on this, saying it's a state issue. He was asked this morning on Nova 100 about it. Have a listen to what he had to say.
I've got no doubt that as the dust settles, the state government will find a solution which sees the volunteers' role being respected, maintained and enhanced, but also making sure that the full-time employees of the CFA are able to carry out their professional tasks. The reason why I'm confident about a solution is I've seen what the volunteers did after, Black Saturday. I also know what the full-time firefighters do for the CFA. There's more goodwill there and more shared interests than there are things that divide them.
So Bill Shorten, again, trying to say this is a state issue, but it's been biting hard reportedly in some of these regional seats, including Corangamite. That's out taking in parts of Geelong and surrounds west of Melbourne. Labor initially was very hopeful of picking up that seat. Now not so much after this CFA issue, as the reports that we're getting. Perhaps the opposition leader might head out there and visit today. He was also talking on Nova and saying, yes, he's the underdog, but he took a bit of inspiration from the Brisbane Lions of 01. He was talking to Jonathan Brown amongst other people, so perhaps just a bit of a friendly line there from the opposition leader, saying he thought he could topple Malcolm Turnbull despite expectations he might come in second.
And you would have appreciated that as a Fitzroy boy yourself, Tom. We'll talk to you soon.